Get ready to get sticky. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Corona Crush is creating Jewish couples always. Join the Facebook group. Just search Corona Crush and look out for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. They're 100% free and 100% Jewish. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sticky Situations. I'm your host, Rachel, which obviously you already know because I'm unforgettable. Right now, go give us a 5-star rating, a glowing review. If you are not already following on whatever platform you're listening on, hit that follow button. Go like Sticky Situations page on Facebook, follow Sticky Situations Pod on Instagram and on TikTok. And if you would like to be a guest on my podcast, please reach out. You can send me a DM on Instagram. You can send me an email at stickysituationspod@gmail.com. Same goes for if you want to date any of my single guests. I'd love to be shot on, so let's try to make it happen. Also, join our Loop group. We have a Loop group, so join it. If you need the link, it's in the Loop episode, so you can go find it. You can also DM me, and I will send it to you. So, yeah, that's exciting. That's a new thing. So, join our Loop group. Okay, guys, let's get into it. So, I have an extra special guest today. Everyone, please welcome my friend Max. Max, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
You want to know something crazy, actually? Speaking of Loop, I just found out that two people got engaged from there.
Yeah, I went to a wedding. I went to a wedding almost exactly a month ago, which you guys heard me talk about on the Loop episode. One of my really good friends married her husband. She met him on Loop.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I just went to the wedding in April.
That's incredible. Is Loop like a Jewy thing, or is it just like an app for everybody? Because you can put in like all sorts of ethnicities and stuff, right?
Yeah, so it's not specifically a Jewish app. Max, along with whoever else has this question, should go back and listen to my Loop episode.
Okay, I got to do that.
Yeah, with the creator of Loop. And yeah, but it's big in the Jewish world.
Okay.
Love matchmaking.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So Max, before we get into stories, discussion, everything, I just have a few identifying questions. Can you tell me and my listeners your age, location, relationship status, and religious denomination?
Sure. So I'm very Jewish, definitely. And my age, I'm 31. I'm located in Teaneck, New Jersey. I'm originally from Miami, so people will automatically think I'm completely messed up and was dropped in my head, which is very possible. Very possible. But what other questions do I need to answer?
Relationship status.
Relationship status. I'm very single.
Okay. So, should we just get into it? Let's hear some dating stories.
Yeah. No shortage of them. I literally probably have gone out with over 1,000 girls, which I'm not trying to boast. I think it's actually a bad thing because I don't really check people out. I really just used to trust people. And so if a friend would say, hey, I think you should go out with so-and-so, I actually would. And so I used to just see what happens. And so you kind of come across a lot of very interesting people and a lot of interesting situations, a lot of sticky situations, and definitely funny situations. So I'll start off with this. I remember I went out I'll go on a lot of blind dates. So I was picking somebody up, and you know what? That's a little, I was told to be clean. So I'm going to actually push that one to the side. I was told to be clean and to keep things, so I'm I've got 4 things to say now. But anyways, I was on a date with somebody at the boardwalk. We were walking around, whatever, kind of got tired, so we kind of sat down. We kind of got into a very more serious conversation, how she was telling me how, she's a certain age, she wants to have kids right away. And so as she's talking, I literally got up from the bench. I started undoing my buckle. I'm all right, let's do this. I would be perfect for one of these reality TV shows because almost wish there were cameras on me at all times when I'm out actually on the date, because I'll just still say it, I'll still do it, whatever it is.
What did she say?
She couldn't stop laughing, to be honest. She already knew who I was. To people who don't know me think that's the weirdest thing to do. But this girl, I think it was date 7, Like I already started us off on like the worst step forward because the story that I didn't tell you, I can just tell you right now how we first started off, which is
Okay.
actually hilarious. So I went to go pick her up at her house, and as she's getting in, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm getting your seat wet from my hair. I just got out of the shower." I'm like, "We just met. You're already wet, or whatever." So like, this is
What
literally
did
the
she
first.
say to that?
Thank God, she actually thought it was hysterical. I think that's a 1 in a million girl that finds that funny.
Yeah, I probably would have like gotten back out of the car. Like,
A hundred
okay,
percent. Most girls would. Most
if
girls
it
would.
was like, okay, I would say if it was a little further in than a first date and I like knew your sense of humor, I would laugh. But for first date,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd just be like, okay, this guy only wants one thing, and I don't feel safe in this
Is
car.
that what you think? Like, I only want that, or
Yeah.
versus just it's like a funny line, like
No, if a guy said that to me like before he knew me, I would just assume that he wanted one thing.
that's
Like
so
guys,
fascinating. I've
like
been
guys on like dating apps will make sexual comments like very quickly. And I'm like, okay, that's what they want. So this is not like this isn't going to be anything serious. This isn't a relationship. And if that's what you want, great. Like go for it. Meaning talking to you or any of my listeners. But like for me that I'm not looking to just I'm not looking for that with a stranger like no thank
totally.
you.
This is like a good therapy session for me because when I go out, I'm not looking for that. I'm a good teenage boy. But when I get set up for a line though, like I think it's literally punishable by death to not finish the joke.
Yeah.
Like if I'm set up for something, I can't hold it in. They do say, just be everyone keeps saying, just be yourself. And then someone looks at me and like, just maybe not your full self, but I just am who I am. I think, as you said, most girls would probably get out of the car like right away, which is I totally get it. But like, I'm still gonna say it. I still think it's hilarious. And whatever. I don't know. That's probably why I'm still single, maybe. But
Listen, if it even if it was a second date and not a first date, I think I would laugh. But if it was a first date and this is the first time I'm meeting someone and that's what he says, like I'd be flattered maybe, but like I don't know.
listen, I mean, like, I wasn't planning on saying it. It just happened so
Yeah.
fast. Like, she just got out of my car and she's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm getting your car seat wet," whatever. It's literally just the first thing that pops into my head. Like, that's why I want to be on a reality TV show. I think I would be great for it because you get like these types of lines. But yeah, it's probably my biggest problem. Most of my dates are one and done, probably for that reason.
So it's usually them saying no.
I think it's Hatsi, but I've definitely shot myself in the foot for sure by saying stuff like that. I'm fully aware of it. I just, like, listen, it is what it is.
So like if she hadn't have laughed, would you consider that a red flag?
I think it's more than just not laugh. I think has a lot to do with you can tell when you just lost someone. Like
Mhm.
on the day, like I've gone out with someone who we'll get to her. There's like a whole story about I have names for people. They're like Seinfeld
Oh, I
episodes.
do too. I
Yeah.
like it.
I call her the one word answer girl. Where the second she gets in the car already, like we didn't even do anything, she's already pissed off. So
Oh.
like you can sometimes get a sense, I guess, at least from the guy side, where someone just zoned out, like no matter what, whatever. Or if you think it went okay, but she doesn't want to go out again, then obviously I probably did something, which I'm whatever. That's usually the case. So that's a red flag to me. Meaning, if 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 someone doesn't, I get if someone doesn't laugh at my jokes, yeah, it's probably really bad. They're probably a lawyer also, or whatever. Someone very, very serious, right? It's hard to
All
be
lawyers are serious.
all lawyers are serious. There's another speaking about dates with that. I'll talk about that too. I went out with a lawyer, and I just let her walk ahead. She just kept walking, and I can't even keep up. I'm a pretty big guy, and I walk really fast. I couldn't keep up with this girl, and I just stopped. I just let her continue walking. I wanted to see how far she'd get without realizing I'm with her. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? It's almost like she doesn't even want to be on the date. at all. Or I
That's
just think
weird.
it's just weird. Yeah, it's weird. She was also like I called her, she told me to pick her up at her office, right? It's later at night. I understand she works late, fine. So it's New York City. So I called her. I just wanted to let her know, look, I'm a gentleman. I don't just text. I call her and say I'm downstairs. And then she just like, it's not about what she said, it's how she said it. She's like, she kind of yelled on the phone. She's like, oh, okay, bye, whatever. And I just got like a really bad taste in my mouth. And then she came down like 20 minutes later. So
Maybe she was like with a coworker or client or something.
screw that. We had plans. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'd,
she should have texted if something did come up, she should have texted you.
I'd rather her just say like, listen, it's not gonna work. This is
Yeah,
first date, like, you know,
yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, like I don't know. I work in corporate America. Things do come up every now and again. Less so at this job that I'm at now, but like in prior jobs that I've had, like I randomly had to work late at the last second. Even sometimes in my job now, I mean, I'm better at setting boundaries. Like if I have a date or something, first of all, I wouldn't schedule a date if I knew there was a possibility that I would have to work late. But like, I don't know, but sometimes like certain fields, I don't know. But she should have communicated it.
Yeah, they're really bad at that because they're too busy billing,
Yeah.
whatever.
I
What did we
mean,
learn from
billing
here?
at
You shouldn't be a lawyer. That's what we learned. Probably because of that,
no.
it's hard for me to go out with lawyers. It's like she left a really bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever gone out with a lawyer, so I don't know if I can,
No wonder you're so
but
happy.
I'm gonna count it. I'm really not.
All right. That's the second worst thing, but yeah, that's okay.
Why? Why are accountants so bad?
There's nothing. No, I'm making. All my friends are accountants, so
Okay.
I just make
I
fun
was
of them
like,
all the
I
time.
was like, don't tell me accountants are boring because like I do know some boring accountants, but like I'm not boring.
I feel like if you're an accountant, you're either like super into the accounting and super serious, or you're the funniest person in the world. I feel like there's no middle,
I agree with that.
right?
I agree. Yeah, because I don't know. I feel like in my accounting career, I've mostly worked with like personalities, so it's fun.
So you like the fun.
Um, yeah, the boring ones are in tax.
Oh, there's a division of accounting that's for the boring people.
Yeah.
So because I mentioned to friends, my accounting friends, and I asked him like, could you help me on my taxes? He's like, absolutely not. So what he's really saying is like, what you're saying is that I have no personality. Absolutely deny that. I don't want to deal with it. So when he's saying I don't want to do your taxes, he's saying I'm denying that I have no personality. He, yeah, I guess that's what he's saying.
Well, okay, so in accounting, you either specialize in tax or like the traditional accounting route, like public accounting, whatever,
Both.
either tax or audit. So if you're talking to someone who is in audit, we don't know how to do taxes.
I hear.
Yeah,
I
like
hear.
my dad does my taxes.
Not. Oh,
He's
really?
not an accountant,
Yeah. It's kind of
but yeah.
It's kind of like how people treat Jewish singles, at least for guys, at least on my side, where I'm a twin brother. So, but we're very different, like very different. He's actually moving to Israel in a couple of weeks to like he pretty much learns like half a day, like even now. He's a very learned guy, very religious guy. I'm also religious, but I'm just not at that level. But to the naked eye, they're like, oh, they're two Jewish guys, so they're the same. So they can go out with the. It's kind of how I actually set him up with his wife. That's how this all started. They thought someone called me and said, Max, I've got this great girl for you. You should go out with, but if you don't go out with her, your brother should. And I told her, I'm like, if you think the same girl can go out with both of us, you are the worst shotgun on God's green earth. Because it's like my brother's looking for Rebitson Kanievsky and I'm not. So yeah, it just reminds me of that.
Yeah. No, I've had that too. Like I have some I don't have any sisters, but I have like really close friends that I've known forever. And one of my good friends, she got married a few years ago, and while she was engaged, her mom texted me. And we're very different religious levels. Like not like we're both modern Orthodox, but I'm like more modern. She's like I don't she's more on the Machmir end of it, but also we have different personalities. We want different things out of guys. So her mom texted me. She's like, "Oh, I got this suggestion for her, but she's engaged, so I thought maybe he'd be good for you." He wasn't good for either of us, but I was like, "We are not looking for the same thing."
Yeah, that's just such
Like,
a system wrapped up in one, right then and there.
yeah,
Just such good, yeah, unbelievable, right?
yeah, they don't listen to
That
what we
probably happens
want.
all the time. That probably happens yeah, happens
Yeah,
crazy. That sucks.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it happens more to you, or it did before your brother got married, because like
That's
brothers.
actually really funny because what do you call it? Years ago, what's it called? My brother actually was married before, so but he was running the singles event, and his now wife was at that event as a single person, and so she was
Okay.
eyeing my brother, and so she's like, "Oh, who's that cutie?" Whatever, and so then someone's like, "Oh, he's married already." And she's like, "Oh, that sucks." And she didn't come to like the lunch the next day. And I'm like, I understand. No one's like, by the way, he's got like a twin brother. Like, no, nothing. Or maybe they did say that. She's like, he's crap. No, whatever. But I'm like, what happened with that? Like nothing, whatever. But no, thank God they're very happy today, which is
That's
good.
so funny. That's
Good, yeah.
invisible string theory for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now we were looking for a quality guy. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to tell another story?
Shidduchim, of course. Oh, this is good. Speaking of my brother, I gotta throw in it. Is that okay? Can I throw in a brother story?
Yeah, of course.
I was so proud when I heard this happen because again, like my brother, I'd say he's definitely much more on the religious side. Very, I mean, I can't say enough good things, just don't tell him, you know. Um,
Well,
but
maybe
like
he'll hear it when he listens.
for him to speak back at anybody is like totally off character. But he and the girls he's dating, he's got to knock on the door, meet the parents, the whole thing. He's like, I don't want to meet the parents, and I totally agree. Stupidest thing ever. So, anyways, he gets to the house, he knocks on the door, and the father answers the door, and he's like, "Oh, shalom aleichem, come in, please, whatever." While the girl's probably hiding behind the curtain as usual, and is listening to the entire thing while she's listening to a sticky situation simultaneously, right? And the father goes, he's like, can I get you anything to drink? And my brother goes, and he's like, yeah, you got any alcohol? You have to understand, like there's like my brother before, and then my brother and I became roommates for a while, like to the point where he even told me, he's like, you know what, Max? Being single is actually kind of fun. And I'm like, you really need to move out right now. I'm
You
like,
corrupted him.
I literally like completely destroyed like a perfectly holy soul. Like this guy was like really whatever, and I destroyed. So for him to say, like, you have me, I was so proud. It was such a proud moment for me. It was great.
What was the response to that?
Oh, I don't think he was too happy. I don't think he was too
Did the
happy.
date still happen?
The date still happened because it's still Shlomi and they're still like, okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Like, if that was me, the date would have ended right then and there, 100%.
Oh my
Sheila, you're
gosh.
not going out with this guy. Absolutely not. This guy, whatever. Forget it. No.
No. He wants alcohol and he's gonna make sex jokes.
Yeah. By the way, it totally makes sense why I go so many one and dones. I've been told separately that people get that vibe from me, but the funny thing is like it's totally not true at all. Like I don't live in certain areas of Manhattan, whatever.
Oh, you want to get into this now?
I was told not to mention names. It could be South Manhattan, but it could also not be. But I'm just saying I'm not from a certain area of Manhattan, so
So you think only the people who live there talk about inappropriate things?
honestly, if people can talk to each other at all, I'd be very happy. But that doesn't happen either. I've got stories with that too. It's unbelievable. There,
Let's
yeah.
hear it.
I mean, it's really bad. I'm gonna like. I don't want to just. I'll tell. I mean, I'll tell it to you.
That's fine.
If anyone listens to this podcast or my own, you'll realize I don't. Can I say the name? Can I say like
Yeah.
the Upper
If it,
West Side? I don't really view
yeah.
the Upper West Side as a very great place. I I say it's literally Mamish Gehenna. Like if you spend 11 months in the Upper West Side, if you spend 11 months in the Upper West Side, you're putter from Gehenna. You're putter from Gehenna.
Oh, okay. So I'm really putter.
100%. You can do whatever you want now.
I'm
It's so,
super putter. Oh,
yeah.
this
That's
makes me feel great.
that's the only benefit of living in the Upper West Side. The problem is you have to live there for 11 months.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in the Upper West Side for more than 11 months.
So you fill the requirements.
Wow. I feel invincible now.
I know,
I
right?
can go out and do all the sins that I want.
Aren't you glad you had me on? Serious.
Yeah,
Uh,
I learned tons of new things.
yeah. So anyways, I've had my fair share of uh events that happens in the Upper West Side. And I'll even throw in another story on top of it to kind of set the picture about how I feel, why I feel the way I feel about the Upper West Side. I generally feel like it's not a friendly place in general. I'm just going to throw it out, not a friendly place at all. And I find myself to be like I could talk to the wall for 45 minutes. So like when I've been to events there and just people just don't want to, I I call it like when you're in social settings, especially at singles events. I came up with this theory about the closed circle and the triangle. So like, especially as a guy, how do you know which girls want guys to come up to them and which girls they don't want people to come? You can disagree with me or not. You can let me know what you think. But if you see a group of people in a closed circle, they obviously don't want people to come up to them and talk to them. They just want to talk amongst themselves. When I went to the singles event on the Upper West Side, they were all closed circles. Nobody wanted to talk to anybody except to their friends. That's just like what was going on. And so, anyways, I was with, all of a sudden, some random girl goes up to my twin brother. And this was my twin brother doesn't go to singles events. Like, again, he was a very firm guy. He's not going on the Upper West Side to go to singles events, but whatever. This is his first singles event ever. Some girl just comes up to him and just like dropped an F bomb on the whole dance floor, essentially. It wasn't a dance floor, but like it was one of these singles events in the Young Israel, whatever, like what it is. It's like people pay to talk to their friends only. Like, how
Yes,
dare you talk to me?
yes.
And so girl literally it's like literally F bombing like Revitz and Kanievsky or like Rav Moshe Feinstein. Like, you are a terrible person. Like, and then the thing is that my friend that was standing right next to them when this happened didn't say like, why'd you do that? Or how dare you? She's like, oh, that's not Max. And then her immediate reaction was like, oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. That's not Max. It's like expected, whatever. It turns out she completely used the F bomb for way out of proportion. I said something, I went out with one of her friends. And of course, I made a joke that completely went way out of control, at least to them. It was totally stupid. Like the whole thing was like totally not worth F bombing my brother, or me for the fact. Cause, you know, months later or years later, I confronted her at a barbecue and I'm like, what's your problem with me? Like, what did I do to you? She told me the story. My initial reaction was like, that's it. It was like I
Wait,
made
so what'd you do?
all right. So I don't want to give away too many details. I'm going to change up certain details, but
No, it's fine.
it's pretty much the same idea. Um, let's say I picked her up at work, let's say, right?
Hmm.
Pick them up at work. I'm not gonna say what type of work she does, but she was watching like this YouTube video and they're like girls dancing in bikinis or whatever. I think it was like an ad or it just kind of came. Maybe she was just I don't remember exactly. I just remember the girl in bikini part. And so then fine, that was just in my head, fine. I went out with her friend like a totally separate occasion. And then I mentioned on the day, like, oh, like this girl, whatever, so and so. And I told her, I'm like, oh yeah, she watches porn in her office. And told it was an I'm sounding like such an asshole right now. Whatever. I'm sorry, whatever. You can block that out. But whatever. It's kind of that's what happened. The girl, in my defense, she didn't like say anything at the moment to me. She didn't like seem startled. She didn't like nothing. But then apparently it was relayed to her. And then I don't know, the girls like to bottle stuff up and like just not
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm never getting married.
But
I
also,
don't
I think that's
know.
funny.
What?
I think that's funny.
Thank you. Finally. All
Like,
right.
if I went out with a guy who went out with my friend and he was like, "Oh, she watches porn in her office," I'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
See, exactly. There's the follow-up question. There's the
Especially
follow-up
if
question.
it's a good friend. Like, I don't know. If I was like trying to get in on the joke, I would probably add to it. I don't know.
When I
I feel
said it,
like it's not that deep.
thank you. When I said it, do you know that like, it's quite obvious that I'm joking, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. I got a lot of heat for that. And then finally, like, I finally started hanging around more normal people. And I guess she's like, I don't see what the problem was. It was clearly a joke. Like, okay, maybe she didn't like the joke, but it was a joke. I didn't mean it like a whole, she thought she can get fired for it. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Come on. I'm like, you
I
need to
know,
relax.
like, I know the exact type that this girl and her friend are. Like, I don't know them, like, obviously, but like, I know their type. I know that type. That's not the whole Upper West Side.
Well, that's not even the Upper West Side. I'm just like, this is just the beginning. Like, this is
Yeah.
nothing.
I
Um,
will agree with you about the events though, and like a lot of the unfriendliness here. Like when I moved here, it took me a long time to like make friends because people were awful. But not everyone is awful. You just have to like know the right places to
so
go.
that's the
Like
classic Upper West Side response. Like, not
like
everyone is so
no.
bad.
Okay, one of the schools is awful. Like I won't even go there. Like and I know people now. And like I have people to talk to, but you go there and it's just like everyone is in their cliques. Everybody's so unfriendly. Nobody wants to talk to you. And like I don't know, when I first moved here, I got like random roommates and they were not nice and they're like the queen bees of that shul. And they're just like they go out of their way to be unfriendly and unwelcoming to people. So like I get it. Like I know, but also it's not all bad.
That classic Upper West Side response. Not everyone is horrible. It's like, I could also say, like, there are nice people in prison also. That doesn't make it a good place, right? Like, I'm sure in Gehenna there are also a couple of nice guys there that shouldn't really be there, but
No, Gehenna is where all the fun people are.
that's true. It's true. It's a good line. That's a good saying. Another Upper West Side thing to say. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyways, so yeah, so I literally, to make a long story short, I pulled her aside. I'm like, what's your issue with me? Like, why are you acting up? And she's like, I'm like, when she told me, she's like, oh, you mentioned to my friend I watch porn in my office. I'm like, that's it? That's it? I thought this was like something I really did or whatever. I'm like, I could tell right away, like, she felt really stupid. She felt like she bottled up all this anger. I feel like she became an alcoholic from this or something. I don't know. But because to this day, she feels hard. She feels really bad that she effed on my brother. So, like, I accept the apology and everything. I think it's a funny story at the end of the day. My brother tells it over all the time. It was totally not necessary at all. But yeah, and the reaction is like, that's not Max, like, right away. So anyways, just my overall experience so far going to those events over the years. It's not like I just went to one event. I've gone to events, I've gone for Shabbos, whatever. Just no one really, I find it like very hard for me. And I'm a very social guy, very social guy. I wasn't born that way, but today, like, I can honestly say, like, again, I can talk to the wall for 45 minutes, whatever. So, anyways, I'm like, a friend came to me and it's like, you know what, the Upper West Side is running this event. It's a Mishmar event. I'm like, well, obviously they're not going to learn anything because it's the Upper West Side, but I'll still go anyways because I want to go for the social aspect. So I told my friend, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to forget all the crap that happened beforehand. And I'm going to go in with a real positive attitude and just, make this the best possible experience I can. I'm going to give the Upper West Side another shot. So I, I'm like, fine, we get there. I walk in, it's like this like penthouse apartment. This place is gigantic. We get there extremely early. I thought it would take me 30 minutes to park. It took me like 4 seconds. I don't know. But so we ended up getting there pretty early. So we walk in. I kid you not, there are three people in the whole place. Fine. There's a reason I say that. What do you do when you walk in somewhere like this? You pretty much introduce yourself, right? So I walk in and I walk in, I see whoever the first guy there was, and I went up to him and introduced myself, and he just didn't even acknowledge my existence. And it's not, you can't say like, well, did you speak? Were you loud enough? I was the only guy in the freaking room.
I
Whatever. I was
mean,
standing right next to him. How does he not
I
know where
mean,
you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I brought my friend with me as proof and evidence that this happened. So I'm like, I don't know. I think that's like literally one of the worst things you could do to somebody. To like just not
yeah.
even acknowledge them.
No, that's so rude.
So rude. So I'm like, wow, okay. And again, I'm going in thinking like, I'm going to give this my best shot. I'm forgetting all the crap that happened before, which I really did. I was really coming in with like high hopes. I was coming in with a positive attitude. And then the second I walk in, this happens. I'm like, wow, okay. Maybe that's just a one-off. So again, three guys in a room, one guy's down. He doesn't acknowledge my existence. I see a guy in the corner. I was gonna say like it's probably jerk, whatever. Okay, fine. That was dirty. I'll redo that. The guys in the corner. Sorry, the guys in the corner. The guys in the corner literally like on the phone by himself. This is again a social event. So I go up to him and I just say hello. And the second I say hello, he gets up and walks right by me. And I'm like,
So
what? I'm
weird.
like, this is gonna be a long. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I already like the second that happened, I just shut off. I'm just like, this place should be blown up. Like, I don't on this is never okay. I don't care.
No, that's
Like,
not okay.
it's not. How does this happen? This is constant. This is like a constant problem. I'm not the only guy that says this, but like,
That's so weird, especially because it's with like other guys.
also
I
a
could,
guy. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not trying
I
to pick
could,
him up. I'm just saying hello. There's
yeah, no, I could
nobody
see
there.
if you like said that to girls and they got creeped out. Like,
Also,
I don't know.
it was funny with, so the friend I was with literally would have a conversation with a girl in the middle of a conversation. She'd just like walk away.
Yeah, I've done that before, maybe.
Oh
I don't
man.
know.
Why?
Like,
Why though?
no, actually, mm, no, it's only when I'm talking to like a real weirdo, but I'll usually be like, oh, I need to go find my friend, or I need to go to the bathroom, or something like that. Usually I make an excuse.
I get it.
But no, I'm usually, but okay, I have to preface. I'm friendly. Like,
I can
I'm
tell.
I'm pretty friendly. Like, if people come up
Seems
and talk to
so.
me,
You
like,
seem
okay,
so.
sometimes people come up to talk to me and I'm not in the mood to talk to people, but I'll at least like pretend for a couple minutes. Like, I don't know. I'm sure people have stories about me. Like, sometimes I get in my zone where I'm like talking to someone else, I'm putting on my show that I normally do.
Boy.
Um, no,
It's that
not
Upper
an
West
actual
Side
show.
mentality. Oh my gosh, what have they done to
No,
you?
no, no, no. Meaning like sometimes like I'm the entertainment, so like I just say funny things or some crazy story happens to me, so I'm like telling it over. The only times where I could think this has happened is sometimes I'll go to like shul meals and I'll see certain friends, and you see certain friends and you get like super hyper, and like then I start going in on like whatever story my story of the week, and then I just like ignore the new people at the table, but I still try to like be like, oh hi, I'm Rachel, what's your name? Unless they're creepy guys.
Yeah, I hear that. I
He
mean, I'm
doesn't seem
biased,
so
but
creepy.
my friend is not. He's a little creepy, but
Is your
not
friend
like
creepy?
he's not worthy of walking away from. He's actually like really good job, good looking guy who's like 6 feet tall. I would have
Oh,
walked
so
away from
why are they
that.
walking away?
Those are
When
stupid.
I when I say creeps that I walk away from, like one time I got cornered at a singles event
Okay,
by
yeah,
like
I know exactly what you mean. That's not
by
the case.
like a 50-year-old who was like, he's like, oh, well, should we trade numbers? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like
Yeah,
I'm leaving. Stop cornering me. He like pulled me out of my other conversation. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you.
right. The 50-year-old guy. I'm like, like that whole thing. I'm a guy in Shidduchim. I have this series called I'm a guy in Shidduchim. So I didn't post this yet, but I was saying I'm a guy in Shidduchim. I'm a 52-year-old married man with 4 kids who sneaks into singles events for 20-year-olds.
Ugh.
That's the guy that was flirting with you.
No, he wasn't married. He was socially off and just 50 and single and pretending like he's like in his late 30s. Like there's that side of the Upper West Side too.
Yeah,
Like
that was so
guys
strange.
in their 50s trying to get into events meant for 30-year-olds.
That's where I came up with the joke, because when I went to that singles event in Upper West Side, there was like a couple like random people who I'm like, they look like my dad's age. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe they were the organizer, but no, they're there like to socialize. And it felt
Yeah.
very strange to me.
Yeah. No, I'm not into
I
that.
feel bad, but like, it just, I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just entered my 30s, so I'm like
Also tough.
still I'm still
You're a
like
baby. Come
not
on. You're a
I'm
baby.
still like not ready to go to like these events that are like 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to talk to people who are within like 5 years of my own age,
I got you.
but
Yeah.
like I don't want to talk to the 50-year-olds who are pretending to be 40-year-olds.
I totally got you. Yeah. Totally reason with you there. Yeah. Yeah. It's when it comes to these types of things, I really feel for women out there. They got to deal with this crap.
Yeah, so my friend, I actually met him at my friend's wedding, which I didn't even realize because I met him for like a second and then I like had to run somewhere because I was bridesmaid. But this guy, my friend kept telling me about this guy in the Upper West Side. He's like 50 and he only wants to marry a girl who's like 35 or younger,
Makes sense. Yep.
but like he's not a catch.
Did you tell them that?
No, I didn't know it was him. She like introduced me and then we had to like go and get ready for something with bridesmaid duty, whatever. And then afterwards, she's like, "Oh, by the way, that was the guy who I told you about." And it's just like I'm sorry, like I'm 30. I'm not really interested in dating guys like
It's like going out with your dad, no? It's like going out with
yeah,
your
like you're closer to my parents' age than my age.
yeah. Is he
Like,
rich at
no,
least? He's
thank
not
you.
rich? Nothing or whatever.
No, I'm like, okay, I would break that rule if he was a billionaire,
I hear.
but that's about it.
Yeah, I hear. I hear that.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I get it. Yeah, that's yeah. I'm one of those few. I'm not trying to act. I already like put myself down so much in this podcast that even if I say these things about myself, it's not going to matter at this point. But one of the great things that I do uh, pride myself in is I'm really not into the age thing. I think the age thing is a very overrated stat. Where I do know a lot of guys. I know a lot of people from a lot of different areas of life. People who are, let's say, conservadox or conservative or whatever, to like really from people who are in like the real shit up system with the resume and the whole thing. So like I know guys who are like they not only mentally can't go out with a girl who's like 14 seconds older than they are, they physically can't come to doing it. Like they literally have a real issue with it. And I can't for the life of me understand what the hell it is. I always thought maybe it was they think like if a girl's over the age of like 12, like they can't give birth anymore or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you're full of crap. That's not true. And people can have kids at like 50. So like I don't understand what the issue. I don't get it. I
Yeah.
honestly don't get it.
Also, like, I don't know, as a woman who is in her 30s now, it's a conversation that my friends and I have. Like, a lot of people I know who are above a certain age, like, take precautions to preserve their fertility.
Right.
So, like, these guys who don't want to go out with girls older than them, or even like their age, like, I will never understand it either. I actually I've now started seeing girls who are marrying guys like a lot younger than them. And I was like, oh, whoa. Because I'm a little ageist when it comes to that too. Because I just feel like guys aren't serious.
Well, you're not
Like
outside. Good luck with that. So, you know,
guys in their 30s aren't serious. So I'm like, okay, what's this 25-year-old want with me?
right. You'll be surprised. I mean, there are some pretty awesome catches who are, I don't think you should go too young, but,
Yeah.
um, 23 and above at least. 23 and above. I feel like when you're
Yeah.
21, you're still a bubble, like you're still from.
Oh, okay. I haven't told this one yet. Basically, okay. We're gonna bash my sponsor a little bit here. It's not
Uh-oh,
really their
uh-oh.
fault,
Uh-oh. They
but
say
it
you over
is
a
a little
21 year
bit
old?
their fault. And I already told the person in charge about this to remedy the issue.
I'm gonna
So
cause you to
I
lose your sponsorship, but
no, he's not gonna revoke my
all right,
sponsorship.
fine, good, good.
But so I signed up for a Corona Crush speed dating. I hadn't done Corona Crush speed dating in a long time, but I signed up for one. This was a few weeks ago. By the time you're listening to this, it's going to be a few months past. Anyway, it was not a good, I didn't have a good set of guys, whatever. It's always a hit or miss. I don't do it so often, but there was a specific reason I did it, and which is totally irrelevant. It had to do with like podcast marketing and not even dating. But Anyway, I get to my last speed date, and this guy comes on. He looks fairly normal, and I'm like, okay, we're chatting. I'm an accountant. He works in finance. We have stuff to talk about. Like, I mean, listen, I don't love talking about work, but at the end of the day, like, I can talk about it. So, whatever, we're chatting. He tells me he works for a hedge fund and all this and that.
Good.
He lives in New Jersey. And I was like, okay, so you live at your parents' house. That's fine. And he's like trying to make things sound impressive, and they're increasingly becoming less impressive,
Sounds like
which
a
is
hedge fund guy.
fine,
Sounds like
which is
a
literally fine. These are Jewish boys that we're talking to. Like, I'm not expecting that much. No offense. Anyway, we're talking, and at some point, I was talking about, he asked me about my job, and I said, like how many years I've been working or something like that. And he's like, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 30. And he's like, oh, he's like, well, I'm
uh-oh.
20. He's like, I'm 24. I'm like, okay. I don't understand, because like the way that Corona Crush speed dating, you get paired, is like an AI generated something. It's not even a person doing it. So it like, I'm like, either you messed up or I messed up, buddy, or Corona Crush messed up. Because I don't think I have 24 in my like age range. It's just like a little young. Listen, if there are 24-year-olds that are mature enough and are a good match, okay, I'm open to things. But like, it's not my preference. So
You
fine.
just can't be hedge fund jackass. Whatever.
Yeah, no, and he wasn't a real like, okay, so without trying to bash him too much. But anyway, the real reason I was mad, it's not he was 24 and not for me and whatever. It was how he handled it afterwards. He was like, okay, well, have a good night. And he was like, gonna hang it up. I'm like, excuse me, we still have 4 minutes left of this speed date. I said, grin bear smiling. You're talking
Oh,
to people on the spectrum for 7 minutes, so you could talk to me. Like, we're
wow.
having a fine conversation. And he was just so incredibly rude after that. And then he basically told me that he'd rather date an 18-year-old than a 30-year-old. And I'm like,
Oh
okay,
my gosh,
how
I just threw up
I'm
in
like,
my mouth. That's
I'm
disgusting.
like, you would rather go out with a girl who you literally can't even buy a drink for than go out with me?
First of all, he
Like,
said that to your face.
yeah,
Like, what a disgusting
yeah,
person. Wow. You sure he's from
yeah.
Jersey and not from the Upper West Side? You sure?
No, he's from New Jersey. He lives in his mom's house.
All right,
And
fuck that. Yeah,
my biggest regret was not asking to talk to his mom for the remaining 4 minutes to tell her what a bad job she did in raising her son.
that's on.
Also, he works for this like, small hedge fund that's like, I don't know, not even in New York. I'm like, okay, if you're right out of college, you should be working like on Wall Street or for one of the big banks. If you actually want to be impressive, like you're not. You're fake finance, bro. You live at your mom's house. You look like you're 34. Your name is the name of an 84-year-old, which I'm not going to say his name, but it was the
We
name
don't
of an
want to get into specifics, but
it's like the
um,
name of an old white man. And I'm like, who do you think you are? Like,
well, I could have, I don't want to say I'm like a psychic, but I kind of am when it comes to like when you're in certain professions, you already know the type of guy you're gonna like hedge fund, complete prick, guaranteed like
but he was a
finance.
fake finance bro.
They don't have to be necessarily fine. If you're in that world, you
He
start
lives
at prick.
at his mom's house.
You start at prick. You are a prick until you prove yourself otherwise.
He wasn't cute.
You can still be a prick and not cute
No, but like, if you're gonna be that mean, you should at least be good looking.
with a lot of money, at least. But
I don't think he had a lot of money. He was still living at his mom's
that's what I'm
house.
saying. Like at the very least, you could at least like go out to a fancy restaurant, like all prick hedge fund guys do. But
Yeah. Like, no, you live in your mom's basement with your fake finance job, and you're like talking down to me, like,
that was
okay, sir.
that's like kind of a dick move. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. So then
And
I
by the way,
I
when you said he'd rather date an 18-year-old, I literally threw up in my mouth. That's the most disgusting thing I've ever.
no, it was so gross. I was like, okay, have fun with your
Freaking high
statutory
school.
rape. Like, I'm like, I was literally in high school when I was 18.
Yeah, so was I. That's why I threw up in my mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so gross. The
it's
thought of dating a
gross.
24-year-old when I was in high school?
And the
No,
fact that
thank
and the
you.
fact that he said it on the call itself is really stupid.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, like I don't want to go out with you either, but like that is rude.
He's obviously killing it in the singles world for for saying stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna have a hard time.
Oh man.
I was like, she can't even drink. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna take her to on a date? Your mom's basement?
Yeah.
Like, is
Yep.
mommy gonna drive you on the date too?
Yep. Yep.
But I don't know.
That's funny.
So before we continue, I lost track of our time. But before we continue, let's take a speaking of my sponsor, let's
Well,
take
we
a
still
break.
have one.
While I still have them, let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Are you tired of swiping on dating apps? Tired of guessing whether the cute guy or girl you keep seeing around is Jewish and or single? Then you need to run, not walk to join Corona Crush. Corona Crush is a Jewish organization working to create Jewish couples always. Corona Crush has over 30 confirmed engagements, over 22,000 members from all over the world, and has set up over 50,000 speed dates. Join the Corona Crush Facebook group and post yourself or have a friend post you and see who reaches out. Fill out the survey to sign up for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. Corona Crush is 100% free and 100% Jewish. Worst case, you end up with some stories of your own. Best case, you find the love of your life. Try it out today. Here on Sticky Situations, we tend to focus on bad dating stories, but sometimes dates do go well and lead to proposals and weddings. Who would have thought? And what do all of those require, you might be asking? Well, the answer is flowers. Who doesn't want flowers from someone they've been seeing? Don't forget, flower petals and bouquets needed for proposals. And that's even before all the flowers that go into weddings. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Primrose Flower Shop. In my opinion, Primrose is the coolest flower shop around and has the best customer service to fulfill all of your floral needs. Primrose offers a range of services from your basic bouquets to subscription services where you can get flowers delivered once a week. They deliver all over the tri state area, including Manhattan. Primrose does weddings, bar and bat mitzvahs, and other simchas. I've personally been to a wedding where Primrose did the flowers, and the work they did was beyond gorgeous. Primrose additionally offers in store proposals, including a romantic setup with candles and music. Primrose is located at 2922 Avenue M in Brooklyn, and the phone number is 929 376 9815. You can also follow Primrose on Instagram at PrimroseNY. So, if you can't get someone out of your head, buy them some flowers from Primrose. They'll either love it or they'll find you really creepy. But regardless, the flowers will be out of this world. Okay, we're back, everybody.
Good to
Okay,
be back.
yeah. Okay, so Max, let's hear more of your stories.
So I've got one more story where I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from it,
Okay.
which not surprising, the girls from the Upper West Side, of course. All right, so I get set up by a friend of mine. Again, when I used to trust people, I don't trust anyone except like maybe my twin brother, whatever. I really kind of, you know, made it much more. I just lost trust in everybody for the most part when it comes to this. You just gotta look out for yourself. So,
Yeah.
anyways, a friend of mine set me up with this girl, and I think you know what, I actually stopped myself. I was gonna say which industry she was from, and if I did, it may have given it away, so I'm not gonna say it. But anyways, I was told to call. He told me to, here's her number, call her to set up the date. And I made the mistake of texting her instead. I forgot to call her. I texted her instead. I arranged the date, and she responded back, and we set up a date. Fine. Your reaction
Wait,
says,
what? No, no, no. My reaction is I prefer to be text. I don't want a random guy to cold call me. Like, I prefer the text. Like, the way you said that, it's like, no, I think proper etiquette is to text.
yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
text to set up a phone call, but like, I
yeah,
don't
but
want a cold call. I hate when guys cold call me.
well, the problem is because, well, I mean, you tell me, but well, guys,
Yeah, I'll let you finish the story.
the call can't, when someone calls, it shouldn't go long. 10 minutes is the absolute max. Absolute max. Do guys just ramble on for like 25 minutes or a half hour or an hour? Is that kind
Well,
of what
I
happens?
ramble sometimes,
Uh-oh.
but I don't want to be called out of the blue. Like, okay, I would rather like we set up the call. I if I have a call scheduled, I'll usually set aside like 20 minutes to half an hour
Right,
to leave
yeah.
cushion. I don't know. It also depends. If it's a setup, a shorter call is fine. If it's like a dating app or a
No,
complete
yeah, yeah,
stranger,
I
it's
got
a
you.
screening call. So that's going to be like 20 minutes at least.
Right. So this was,
But
yeah, this was set up through my friend.
okay.
So
So yeah,
I
like 10 minutes,
guess,
that's fine.
and even if I were to call, I could have, maybe texted before, hey, you wanna, like, what I'll usually do is, it really depends on what I'm told to do. Whoever's setting it up, like, you wanted me to call, you want me to text, or text, I'll send a pigeon if I wanted, whatever it is. So he told me to call. I forgot to call. I made the mistake. I sent her a text. Sue me, whatever. So, anyways, I pick her. So we set up the date. I pick her up, and she is in a pissy mood, like unbelievably pissed. Like I've never met her before. This is the first date. Like you're supposed to like put on like your best self, or like you shouldn't like take your crap with you on the date
No.
itself. She was already like in a pissy mood. I call this girl the one word answer girl. You can't get more than one word from her. How was your day? Good. I know this is just audio, but there's a lot of we went out to like the Marriott Marquis. I went to one of the hotel bars, whatever. And so we're just sitting in it, we're just having drinks, and we're just looking at each other. And I thought we would have a conversation, what adults do. But apparently that's not how this worked. If I said, so what do you do? I work. And then like would just say I work and just pause and look at me. And I'm like trying to look, I'm like looking behind my, is she looking at something else? Does she recognize? I'm like, what is happening? I can't get a word out of this girl. She doesn't even ask me like, hey, how are you? It's like, hey, how are you? Good. That's it. It's bizarre. Like you could be the greatest conversationalist in the world. If you, it's a two-way team. It's a two-person team. Like this doesn't work with one person. I felt I was talking to a wall the whole night. And I was starting to sweat it out a little. I'm like, it's like a half hour. It's really early. And I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm really pushing through this. So I don't want to be, rude, even though she was rude to me literally the entire night. But like, I don't want to just go somewhere for 15 minutes and be like, yeah, why don't we call it? Whatever. I pushed it to at least an hour. At least like, okay, we can say like we went
That's
out.
generous.
Thank you. I usually do a minimum an hour, even if it's like the worst thing in the world. But after an hour, I'm just like, will you excuse me? I just need to use the bathroom. I was just, I just called I'm like, you won't believe this. Like, this is just brutal,
You should have just
brutal.
left her there.
I should have, I should have. Then I thought, like, oh, you got to keep up your reputation. And who are we kidding? Like, people think of me what they want anyway. So go about whatever. So fine. I dropped her off. I can continue to breathe again. Um, and long story short, I heard back from my friend that he told me that she complained about me, the fact that he came in, he wasn't prepared at all, he had nothing to say. And then my friend goes, my friend, my friend told me that when he was told that she told him this, he's like, wait a minute. You could say a lot of things about me. One thing you can't say is I had nothing to say. So she's full of crap. And so it was to this day the worst date I have ever gone on, ever, my entire life. Have you ever been on a date like that? You can't get one word out of a person. I think she's dead.
Had it that bad. Probably in my like early dating days. Now I'm like much more selective with who I go. Like I'll screen them before,
Yeah, that's smart. I like that.
but I I don't know because I could also talk to a wall. I just don't enjoy it.
Well, yeah, you don't have to enjoy it, but at least there's a conversation. At least there's
No,
a
just like
oh,
meaning like if I was with a guy who just gave one word answers, like I would get tired of it and like leave.
for real, you leave, you just pick up during the date.
I don't know. I'd never done it before, but I could be pushed.
I mean, like, that's ballsy. I mean, like,
I've never
that's,
done it. I have some friends who have. I've never done it, not yet. Hopefully I won't have to, but like who knows.
I mean,
But I don't know.
if I were to do it again, what I likely would have done is I would have just paused and said, I'm like, is everything okay? Is everything
Oh
okay?
yeah.
What I think happened, I can't confirm this is what it appears to be, but it appears that she was pissed that I didn't call her.
That's so dumb.
Because my friend's like, did you call her? I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I texted her. He's like, I told you to call her. Maybe that's why she was. I'm like, first of all, if you're gonna be pissed, then just don't go out at all. If you're gonna be pissed
Yeah.
off over one thing, I don't think I did anything malicious. Should I have called her?
No.
I don't disagree. Like if I was told to call her, she was waiting for my call, I should have called. But like, this doesn't make me a horrible human being, whatever.
No.
Or and if you have such a problem with that, then just don't go out with me. Then say something. Don't make the drag out the worst date ever and just be pissed off, then to do that instead of just saying like, hey, you're a schmuck, I'm sorry, I don't want to go out. I'd rather do
Yeah.
that than this.
Yeah. I I don't know, because listen, I tend to get annoyed pretty easily when it comes to dating. So at least in my early, I've tried to get better at it because like if I get annoyed with something, it's better for me to just like express it because guys don't always like guys
No,
can't
we
read
don't. We
girls'
don't.
minds.
We
So
don't.
it's like if I get annoyed, if I tell a guy that I want to meet in the Upper West, like I had this actually. I told a guy I wanted to meet in the Upper West Side, and he sends me a bar in the 50s. I'm like, I'm not going to the 50s. Like
I
that's
pick up
not the
my
Upper West
dates.
Side. So like I would like then I told him I'm like actually could we go closer to this like I gave him like a 20 block radius. I was like, could we go closer to here? Like I really just like don't want to get back on the subway and he was driving. Okay, that actually was a date that I showed up pissed off to, but he did a lot before that, and he showed up like a half an hour late.
That's
So, and when the waitress took our drink orders, he told me he forgot his credit card in the car, and I just like stared at him for a second.
oh, he pulled the
Yeah.
old I left the credit card in the card trick.
He's like, I had Apple Pay, but like she needed a card for the tab.
Oh my gosh. I
He
wouldn't
did
pay.
pay him then.
I hope
He did pay
so.
him then.
I hope
But
so.
but he kept making jokes. I already told this story like way at the beginning of the podcast. This is already like 2 years ago. But he kept making jokes the whole time about like, oh, I'm gonna order this and this and this because it's your card. And I was like, I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, no, that's a dick move. Dick
Yeah,
move.
no,
I hate when guys
that
do
was
that.
unpleasant.
I hate
That
when
was like
guys do that. There's a
like yeah,
I have a great story about that. It didn't happen to
okay,
me, it happened
let's
to a
hear it.
friend of mine. This is phenomenal. Where a situation like that happened, I believe they went to like one of these froyo places.
Mhm.
And again, we always, when I say we, like I've screwed up with this. I think we've all been there. Or maybe since you guys are in the city, you know like how 16 handles works, whatever. But people
Yeah.
who aren't around that stuff, they don't realize that it goes by weight and doesn't go by cup. Like I assumed, I thought it went like, okay, you're getting X cup, it's going to cost you $13, whatever you can fit in there. That's what it is. Because I remember going on a date and I filled that thing sucker up to the brim, and it was like $127 or whatever. No, I don't
Really?
know, some absurd. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Whatever. Like I didn't know how this. I didn't realize it went by weight. So with her, um, she also thought that, but she got like a smaller. There wasn't a big deal. He got like a giant cup and he filled that sucker up. And then when it came to paying, he's like, "Oh man, I totally forgot my credit card, or I have no cash on me. Like, would you mind spotting me or whatever?" So she didn't think twice about it. She's like, "Oh, I'm so, it's just dumb luck. It just happened." So she gave him like a $20 bill or something, whatever. And he's like, thank you so much. So he paid for it. He paid for it and got the change. And what's it called? When he paid her back, he didn't give her the 20. He gave her what the ice cream costed and then just kept the change, which I found so bizarre,
Yeah.
where he borrowed $20 and I don't know,
Give
it's just
back
weird. There's
$20.
just some freaking weird people out there. I don't know. I just don't understand. Something's not coming to the top floor. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Like my mentality is if I at least on first, second, maybe third date, like if a guy asks me to pay, I'm not seeing him again.
Yeah, you can't ask. It's just, yeah, good times. Good
Yeah.
times.
If I'm dating someone, I will pay. Like I've been in relationships where
The
it's like,
first
okay,
day,
I
the
got
first day,
this.
the girl should not pay ever, ever. I usually pay, but like I'm at the third or fourth, like we would like a reach though. It's like a Seinfeld episode. It's like it's not necessarily about the payment, it's just about the reach. It's just like a show of like, hey,
Interesting.
yeah,
So I don't even pretend, at least on the first 2 dates.
that's fine. That's fine. No, the guy should pay for sure.
Yeah,
I just usually
but
don't make it that far anyway, so it doesn't matter.
yeah. I don't like I'm trying to think of my last like third date that I've had where I like offered or I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I don't I mean I've said this before. The only time I'll offer is if like we do one activity and then we're having a nice time and we go on to something else and then I'll be like, "Oh, do you want me to pay for the second?"
that's nice of you. Yeah.
But I can only remember like a couple times in my history where that's happened.
Well, listen, you're going out with such well-established hedge fund guys. I mean, the least they can do is pay $40 out of their $600,000 what they call salary.
The fake finance kid who lives in his mom's basement
Hey, he's not paying any rent. He's got even
and
more money.
he wants to date, he'd rather date an 18-year-old.
18-year-old, because he can only afford an 18-year-old. He can only take him to like, ice cream and that's it.
Yeah, probably like can't afford me.
It's not good for Shidduchim.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe I intimidate him. Like
Think so?
powerful, successful. I wouldn't call myself that
I
powerful.
had an
But like,
episode. I had an episode on my show about that. If guys are intimidated by women who have certain job titles or who are, successful or XYZ. We had a whole episode about that. And
I listened
it
to
is
it.
true. I speak up, I've spoken to a lot of guys. It's true, but it's not what people think.
Yeah, I mean, I think if a guy is secure, I think if a woman is like if you are two secure adults and like I don't see why it's a problem. Like people have different jobs, people have different job titles, people make different salaries. Like,
Totally. What we discussed was it wasn't necessarily the the job itself. It's about how someone portrays himself. Meaning, if someone says like comes off as like I don't need you or I'm this or that or I'm so amazing, then like it could come off wrong and someone could be turned off by it. Kind of the way that I turn off people by saying like we just met and you're already wet, like stuff like that. But not necessarily because I've gone out with a doctor before. But like if she would have just was like, well, I'm too busy for this, I don't have time for you or this or that, I wouldn't even go out with her at all. But she wasn't like that at all. I didn't feel like she was too busy for me. I felt like we were both kind of equal. And so even though she's got this like super successful career and she's a doctor, I can't even spell doctor. Like I didn't feel that way. But I could see someone being like, well, you gotta, kiss the ring because I'm better than you and that kind of thing.
yeah, I I agree with you. I think it's how you present yourself, how
Right.
you present everything, and like I don't know, different people are at different stages in their careers, different types of careers, but I don't know. I mean, I have been snobby about my job before, but like not
I
really.
was an accountant, I would be too. I would make sure everybody knows how great an accountant I am.
No, the only time I was snobby about it was I can't remember if I told any of this story already, but I was talking to this guy on J Swipe and he was this like unemployed DJ, which I found out after we were like on the phone and whatever. And basically the next day he was texting me and I asked him what he was looking for. And he told me he's like looking for something like he's like, "Oh, I want to find someone to be friends with and then see where it goes and maybe it'll turn into something and this and that." And he was like, oh, so then I was like, oh, I think we're just not looking for the same thing. Best of luck to you, everything.
Right.
And then
That's
he like starts going off on me. He's like, all you Jewish girls want is money and this and that. I'm like, dude, I didn't say that. Like, it might be true, but I didn't say that.
I think
No, I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
I think that
But
was yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, but like he had told me, and I might have already said this part in a different episode, but basically he had told me that he was in school for accounting and then he like failed his last class like twice. And he's like asking me, he's like, "Are you a CPA?" And I was like, "Yeah." But then he's like bashing me and like saying mean derogatory things about women. And I was like, "Bro, you couldn't even pass the class to get the job that I have. Like, I don't know what you want."
He sounds like a
That's the
great guy.
only time I was snobby.
He sounds like a great guy. On the Shidduch resume, it would say that he's open-minded and that he's very friendly and he's family
That
oriented.
he
He only
that
wants
he
to,
wants old fashioned traditional family
right, he only wants
values.
to get in women's pants is what he wants. See, that's a guy who actually only wants that. But,
Yeah.
I just make jokes. That's all. It's not like I just make jokes. Girls can't handle it though. But the ones that do, that's special. It's good. I don't think you were, I mean, it doesn't sound to me that you were inappropriate at all. At all. Like he kind of just like forced the hand. He just went
Yeah.
off on you first of all, completely out of nowhere. He has no right to do that. And who the hell is he?
Yeah. I mean, I did go back and forth with him after that for a while, and I'm not proud of it. But you know what? Sometimes you wake up and choose violence, and it's better to take that violence out on strangers from the internet than like
I
people that you
hear
like.
that. I hear that. That's funny. I
Yeah,
was gonna say, I'm like, I feel like you enjoy it though. Like you kind of get something
I
like
do.
if you have a tough day at work, like you can't take it out on
Yeah.
your boss. You can kind of take it out on this guy. He's not gonna see him anyway. So what difference does it
I
make?
take it out on Jace White Boys.
Yeah, Jay Sweat. Yeah, that's fine.
No, I
The
mean,
guy's a
listen,
schmuck, though.
sometimes
I mean, that's just call a spade a spade. The guy's a schmuck.
sometimes I just like get in the mood to tell off boys, and like I'd rather it be a stranger,
I
like
hear
someone
it.
I care about.
Yeah, save him for the bad ones. There's some nice guys out there. We shouldn't be too hard on
No, I try to be nice.
them.
I
Yeah,
try to be nice.
yeah.
I
Okay.
always start off with nice intentions,
Okay. All right.
but sometimes it just happens. That
Well,
guy provoked me, so
no,
he
that
was
guy did.
asking
There's
for
no
it.
question about it. There's no
He was
question.
asking for it.
Yep.
But yeah. Okay, so Max, do you have any other stories, any other discussion topics, anything else you want to say before we wrap up the episode?
Yeah, I had some dating advice I'd like to share. If
Sure.
you don't mind, I actually don't have one, but two tidbits. I'd like to
Oh,
share.
like for our ending.
Yeah,
Okay, so okay, sure. Let's hear your dating advice, Max.
let's do it. Um, I think it's a hard game out there, no matter any way you cut it. Even the people that are saying like you gotta have it, you gotta have the faith or whatever, and the whole thing. It's tough out there, but I found that the number one thing that you cannot lose focus of is yourself. And what I mean by that is you should never ever stop working on yourself. Especially, I'm talking for me, especially. I am very aware of I say things, whatever. I'm aware that I do them. I do them anyways. But um that doesn't mean that I'm not actually working on it from behind the scenes, like from where I was 2 years ago, from where I am now is night and day. As far as I guess you can call it maturity, whatever it is. It's interesting. The older I get, the more immature I get. Like when I was younger, I was super mature. I was one of those like super mature 24-year-olds, but but I guess time flies and you become whatever. But you start to realize stuff like things that we talked about even in the beginning, like on a serious note, like when I say a joke, like what I said before, like, oh, we just met and whatever, like to have just the realization that you know you can say it, but like when you say it, you might come across to a woman as an F-boy or this or that. I didn't have that realization before though. Like to just kind of constantly just work because it's easy to blame others. It's very hard to blame yourself and to work on yourself. One thing that I've done was I used to blame others, but I stopped that game. That game doesn't take you anywhere. I think the best thing to do is always kind of focus on you, see like where you can improve and continue to improve on yourself because I mean, you're with yourself your whole life, right? So like whether you're married now or later, whatever, it always pays off to work on yourself. So I think that's a really big lesson to, at least for myself, that I think that's worth sharing. And just one other thing is especially, I find this in every world possible. I thought like to think like I've never thought like maybe I could be alone the rest of my life. To say like that's never happened is a joke. I don't know if I think dating is very difficult in general. I've definitely thought that before, and it's a scary thing to think of. One thing that I've done is to stop trying to control things that are just not in your control at all, and to just let it go, let loose, and just I hate to be like the religious guy on this, but like instead of focusing on like, well, can this person set me up? Can this shot can do this or whatever? You can just pray for it. You can talk to God privately. You talk to him. He's the guy that actually can do anything. I'm a sales guy, so I'm like, I don't want to talk to the people that have no power to do stuff, like the tire kicker, whatever. I want to talk to the boss. So like to just, first of all, it feels good. You kind of, but I think to put your ultimate faith into the one who actually can do something, and that's God, to put your faith in that, even the most religious circles, I find it that sometimes they need to be reminded that God runs the world and not Shadchanim. And to not have so much faith on just people. And I find it that if you're just constantly just focus on people, that you could be disappointed easily, and you're going to be disappointed a lot because people screw up a lot. To kind of let loose with that and just realize it can come from anywhere, but ultimately God's the one who kind of sends the match, and to just focus on that. And I think, yeah, I think the third thing also is not to live in the Upper West Side. I just have to
Upper
throw
West
that in
Side
there.
isn't all bad.
I know, it's fine.
It's not all bad.
There's a number of great people that they met in the Upper West Side. They actually moved to Teaneck. I know they're great people. So you're very, I mean, I really enjoy speaking with you.
Yeah,
So
me
that was
too.
nice. That was nice. So
I'm a
Shidduchim.
nice Upper West Sider.
Right.
I've had some nice Upper West Siders on my podcast also. We're
Okay,
not
good.
all bad.
Okay.
But if you're creepy and you come up to me, I might not be friendly. But usually I try to be friendly. So if you see me around,
Well, I think it's a good, I mean, I think it's I think a positive thing is that if someone, I like to think of myself as a very welcoming and nice guy, but if someone screws around, like tries to do something to me, I will beat the crap out of that person. So I feel like sometimes there's a time and a place for everything. Even if you're a nice guy, you can, punch somebody in the face, euphemism. It
yeah.
needs to be done sometimes. But I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I try to make, maybe that's another lesson for everyone. Make a conscious effort to be friendly to people. Being unfriendly isn't going to get you anywhere.
I, you know,
Being
I
friendly might not either, but like it's more likely to get you somewhere in life than being
it
not friendly.
I being someone who was completely antisocial before into someone who literally talks to everybody and really like it's kind of like my oxygen now. You get a lot further in life if you're friendly with everybody. You really never know. But I'll give you an example. Just on the Upper West Side, I went to some event and I'm talking to a girl, and this is the way I feel is that if someone doesn't feel that you're their potential spouse, they find zero value in talking to you at all or continuing to talk to you. I think that's a very toxic way of thinking because I know a lot of people. How do you know that I may know someone for you by essentially treating me badly? You're essentially stopping all of your angles on potentially being matched up or just furthering your network. I feel like people are burning bridges constantly without noticing.
Yeah.
Even at another singles event, there's somebody, she walked in, I was interested, so I walked up there and she just looked like a deer in the headlights. She'd rather probably commit suicide than talk to me. Like she just like gave me like this deadpan face as if I'm talking to a wall. And her friend was a little nicer to me. And it turns out her friend actually wanted to go out with me. And I basically told her to go screw herself because I'm like, if this is your friend, that your friend treats me like this, I don't want to go out with you either. So go screw
Wow.
yourself. I didn't actually say go screw yourself, but that's but But I'm saying, like, I don't think people realize the way you come off to people, even in just a social interaction, can be burning bridges you're not aware of. And I
Yeah.
think it's a big lesson, especially in the Upper West Side.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this on previous episodes where you don't have to go into every situation with the intention of if the person you're talking to isn't your future spouse, like they're not worth any of your time at all. Like some people are just like cool to get to know. I mean, for me personally, I like talking to everyone because I try to recruit for the podcast,
Right.
but like I'm not going up to guys with being like, "Oh, like maybe I'll marry you." Or shutting them down. I mean, unless they're like really creepy. There are some exceptions. If you feel unsafe or you feel that they're really creepy, you can walk away.
If you are
But
unsafe, you are free to do what you need to do.
yes. But in general, like it's better to just be nice. Even if you talk to the person for 2 minutes and you're like, "Oh, I need to go find my friend. It was really great to meet you." You can walk away.
That's
Doesn't
it.
hurt you for 2 minutes.
That's it. That's all it is.
Just
That's
be
all.
nice.
Yeah. Again, unless someone puts their hand on you or anything like that, God forbid, you can kick them in the nuts and run, whatever. But if the guy's just like, you're just not interested, like you can just say, like, hey, it was great meeting you. As you said, I'm just gonna go find my friends. No harm, no foul. You don't have to talk to them again. And that's it. But
Yeah.
I think
Look,
it's
I
lots of
gave you an out, everybody. I told you exactly what to do.
exactly.
But okay. So, and Max, last but not least, what is your Real Housewife tagline?
So I first have to look up what the Real Housewives were at all. But
And
I
you
think
said you want to be on reality TV.
I know, right? Seriously. Seriously. Um, I think this really encapsulates me, who I am. I am that my Real Housewives line is, I can't believe I'm saying Real Housewives, but I say what everyone else is thinking, but funnier. I think that really encapsulates. I was thinking about using that or using I'm 100% serious 50% of the time, whatever. But I really do, like, everyone's thinking something and I'm always the guy, but nobody's comfortable saying it, and I'm always the guy to just bring it up because I hate I, I I mean, it's like everyone's thinking the same thing. Like everyone knows what's going on. I'm just like, we just like tone it down a little. If we just like say it, it'll be, first of all, it's hilarious. Number two, it's just more comfortable for everyone. But I really do it for the laugh though. Once you get like one laugh, it's toxic. I just go for
Yeah.
them. I think Jerry Seinfeld said that, and a lot of comedians. You know, so
I'm
yeah,
very similar in that aspect. I'll just say the unhinged thing, and people think I'm joking. Then they laugh, and I'm like, okay.
right.
But it's the shock factor. You go for the shock factor.
I think my biggest problem is because I say it with a straight face, people think I'm so serious, and then I get into trouble.
No, I usually cave and laugh.
Yeah, no,
So
I keep a straight face the whole time. It's yeah. That's why I like being around people that laugh because I know they know I'm joking, I guess.
yeah.
If someone's just looking at me with a deadpan face, I feel like I'm just joking. Don't worry, I'm not, it's not real or whatever.
Oh yeah, when you have to explain that you're joking, that's when you know it's like
Oh God,
it's
it's the
over.
worst. It's the
It's like,
worst.
okay, I can't be
Gotta
around
get
you.
out of it. And that's when I'm like, it was so great meeting you, but I'm just like, I gotta leave.
Yeah. I gotta go find my friends.
Yeah.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go get
That's the
seltzer.
best excuse. Like if you actually need to use the bathroom, that's always the best. Because they can't
Yeah.
follow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like if you're
That
yeah.
is, I don't know. Sometimes girls don't want to talk about going to the bathroom in front of guys, but
I've heard like I'm gonna go powder my nose. I've heard that.
I don't know any girl who actually powders their nose.
Well, they're not using the bathroom. We know that.
Sometimes I go to the bathroom.
I wonder. I once saw two women. I was in my apartment. We were having an oneg, and this is not the Upper West Side. So I see two women just get up, and I have one bathroom in my apartment. Whatever. Two women just get up and go to the bathroom together, and I'm just like, everyone notices it, but again, like no one's gonna say anything, and I'm just like, hold on, what? I literally stopped. There's like 20 people there. I'm like, what just happened? I have like they locked themselves in. I'm like, guys, like what the hell is happening? I know you're like, you're not supposed to embarrass. I'm like, no, this absolutely, I have to know what the hell is going on. If anyone's going to get laid in my apartment, it should be me, right? Whatever. But just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. I feel like I have to say that with a disclaimer. But like, they're like, yeah, women apparently go to, I just want women go to the bathroom. One's actually using the bathroom, the other one just talking to her as a friend.
Sometimes.
That's a
Sometimes.
normal thing. I couldn't believe. I'm like, if a guy did that, oh my lord, I would literally rip his head off. If a
I
guy
don't
walked into the bathroom,
I don't think I would bring a friend into this like a stall with like
ever.
if it was a public bathroom, okay, I'll go in the stall while she's talking to me. But like if it's a like a regular bathroom, like
I
no.
can't
But
understand.
maybe they were having a girl emergency and they needed help. Like one of
Girl,
them needed
no, there's
help with
no girl
something.
emergency. No, there's
Maybe they
never.
were just needed some privacy to talk about something.
Oh my lord. Yeah, I just guys we don't do that. It's just weird. It's just weird. Um,
Girls are weird.
I agree. I agree. Yep.
Well, okay, wait. Before we end the episode, everyone, I'll let Max plug it, but everyone should listen to Max's podcast. Max, tell everyone about your podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's called Good for Shidduchim. It's with me and my co-host Sarah Levine, who was on Sticky Situations in years past. And so she's my sister-in-law. We co-host the show. And we talk about all the absurdities of the Shidduchim world. People think I have like Tourette's or something when I go Shidduchim. Again, this is again like I get in trouble for things that I shouldn't be getting. I'm obviously joking. I'm extending the thing because I think first of all, shidduchim is my favorite word. It's like the third word out of it's like every third word I say it. And there's nothing better to make fun. I do it for humor and I do it because I'm calling things out for things that need to be called out. And I don't think people are really calling things out for what they are. Usually a shidduch podcast would say like, well, we're doing the best we can. Bull crap, they're not. There's a lot of problems in this, and I like to call them out, but I'm not just making fun of them or I'm not just bashing it, but I'm coming out with real solid solutions to problems, such as let's say, I don't know, reference calls. I think they're stupid anyways. They don't tell you anything. We were bringing stats that about how reference calls can actually hurt the person more than it does. And the first question usually on a reference call is like, tell me about them. And they'll be like, well, they're just the nicest. Did I tell you how nice they are? They have apple cider for today, whatever. And I'm just like, nobody cares. The whole stupid thing. But this goes on. So we talk all about that. We have a good laugh. We have a good time. But it's really informative and we really get down to the nitty gritty about what's going on and how to fix things. And we also love for your input on topics on what we should talk about next. We have an Instagram account called Good for Shidduchim, or email us at goodforshidduchim@gmail.com. Hope you guys take a listen. I usually say if you give us 30 seconds, you'll be hooked for life. It's typically what happens actually.
I enjoy listening. I'm a listener.
I appreciate
Um,
it. Yeah, nice.
so everyone should listen. I'll tag their Instagram when I post the episode, like on my Instagram post when I post this episode, so you guys can find them easily. And yeah. Wait, do you do the dragging out of the word in the podcast?
Of course.
Like when you introduce it? The only reason I ask, I do listen, but I listen fast. Like I listen to every podcast fast. So
Gotcha.
like I don't hear it.
So like we have like this rap in the beginning, which was great. And so like when the episode begins, I like Sarah to be the host, number one, because if it's just me, it'd just be a Ben Shapiro for 45 minutes, just bashing everything. She keeps it even keeled. She comes with the feminine side. She comes from the woman perspective, which is great. But when she starts off, she's like, welcome everybody back to another edition of Good for, and then when she's about to say Shidduchim, you'll hear me in the back saying Shidduchim. It's just my shtick. I don't know. It's just something I came up with.
Listen, we like shtick. We're all about
Love
shtick
shtick, yeah.
at Sticky Situations.
Sticky, very sticky.
Very sticky.
Good for Shidduchim.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, everything's good for Shidduchim except Shadchan.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. But yeah, Max, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And
Thanks so much for having me.
of course, and Sticky Situation Nation, you'll catch me next time. Bye, everybody.